Hello, hello. Hello, it's Jon Binnie. I'm Psychic Mentor here in Scotland. Recently rebranded from Spiritual Psychic Mentor to just Psychic Mentor. Because being a Psychic Mentor is more than enough. Being Jon Binnie is more than enough. So welcome to the Witch's Craig. Here we are again. We were here just a couple of weeks ago. Back for more adventures. I'm recording this on Friday, and so I may be sharing it a day or two later. So happy weekend in July. I have some amazing questions. We're going to be doing some psychic tree talk together, and yeah, just go through what's going on and the beautiful questions that you've been generously posting on my website. So thank you so much. And look at these beautiful woods. And somewhat unusually, I'm going in a direction I've never been before, so we're heading down this way. Usually I'd head upwards, so we're just going to go down and see what happens. And if you're curious why I'm wearing a hat, it's because I really love having the microphone up off my chest, because I like having my heart free. My heart is free. It's free. Okay. So let's go ahead with the first question, and we'll talk to some trees as well. So this first question was from Miss Love to Learn, and it says, how do you find such amazing people to journey with? ? I can barely find anyone to talk to about basic psychic stuff without them thinking I'm crazy. You are so blessed. And then a lovely emoji of like the love symbol with your hands. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Love to Learn. So we will ask some trees about this as well. So stepping over some logs. And I might be getting slightly nervous about wearing shorts going through the undergrowth here without getting stung by the nettles. So where do I start? First of all, I do feel, well, it's more than a feeling, a knowing that our spiritual awakening journeys, maybe they require us, maybe it's a kind of rite of passage you could describe that as, in our spiritual awakenings, is aspects of great solitude. And perhaps, hand in hand with that goes periods, sometimes very long periods. We're all unique, right? Sometimes very long periods of loneliness. And we can be lonely in a crowd. We can be lonely surrounded by loved ones. We all reserve the right to have feelings regardless of our physicality. We're actually getting really close to Logie Church. I wonder if this takes us through to Logie Church. I keep being drawn to it, so that would be fascinating. So, look at me in my hand. What's my hand doing up here? My awakening, November 2017, this looks like a path that takes you straight through. Oh, I think we're going to go to the church. Kirk, which is Scottish for church. Kirk. I didn't even know you could go this way. It's so much better going this way than going along the road. Amazing the things you discover. So yeah, after my awakening in November 2017, my first big awakening, I feel our awakenings never really stop once they start. I started meditating every day. Within a couple of weeks, I was talking to my spirit guides. And those experiences, those very first experiences I had, even before I started talking to my spirit guides, I could see them. I just wanted to tell my wife and my family, I meditated today and I saw like some crazy colors and a donut shape and sparkles. These were all the things that I experienced in the first few days. And yeah, I held back because I was worried they would think I was crazy. And as time went on, I kept going, with these experiences. This is just the back of the graveyard of the kirk. And that was tough, especially as I started receiving daily messages from my spirit guides. The messages, you see them in my "Hi, it's Jon" videos every morning. Which I've done, I've meditated every day since November 2017. Those messages are also like deeply profound, and I've heard comments from even loved ones like calling them those messages like psychobabble and woo-woo stuff. And that's was really triggering for me in the past. And I learned a bit to just create strong boundaries and say, what, if you're not going to show me respect, then I'm not going to share this content with you. There was times in the past where I actually blocked loved ones from my social media because they're rude. And I was like, well, I don't care who you are in this world. If you're going to be rude to me about my beliefs and experiences, then I'll block you. And I do feel, now that we've moved on a few years, and look at this. This is Logie Kirk here. And it feels very, what's the word? Healing, like I'm doing ancestral healing looking at this place, because it was the the priest or minister from here was the one that caught the witches up at the Witches' Craig, supposedly communing with a being that had horns, a devil-like being. So I do feel like there's a lot of healing to do between the two areas, Witches' Craig just over there, and then the kirk. Over the years since, especially since I first started going through awakenings and then gradually started to come out more and more, because obviously I was posting more in songs and on YouTube. What really stood out to me was people just started to gradually get a little bit more used to me, right? I hadn't run away completely with the fairies. I hadn't disappeared and started living in a tree. I hadn't gone up and lived in a mountain. I hadn't started, I was about to say talking to trees. Well, that came later. But yeah, it was, there was a lot for others, especially those close to me, around me, to continue to, observe and get to know. Every day it feels like there's a new version of me that they're getting to know as I continue to face fears and expand. Wow, look at these beautiful trees up here. You see them? This big old wall. You can just see the church here. And I remember vividly meditating in my studio each morning. And this was especially in the first few years, the first 3 or 4 years. So 2017, 2018, 2019. Feeling really lonely. I felt like I had no one to share my experiences with. And back then I had a lot less. I don't know how many subscribers I maybe had, especially in the first wee while. It was just a small number, maybe up to 100. I don't really know. You can look these things up. There are apps that show you. It's interesting how this is closed, like closed off. You can probably venture inside, but I don't want to be rude, especially as I'm filming. Sunday service at 11. Interim moderator, Reverend Colin Renwick. And there's the cemetery over there, and this big, beautiful, like gatehouse. Oh, you're quite stunning, aren't you? You can walk in and take a look. It's not. I know sometimes when you see these things on video, you're like, "Oh, I can't see so well." Yeah, it's quite a stunning old building. There's quite a lot of. It's so fascinating. There's quite a lot of darkness to the stone, isn't there? There's like the light stone, and then this dark, almost granite-looking stone. 1901. So you're just a baby. Really, 1901. If you were in 1901, maybe because it's just over 125 years ago. Were we still like persecuting witches then? Well, I guess it still happens all around the world. Oh, and by the way, I will talk to this tree. This tree wants to talk. When you go into the Witches Craig campsite, they have a shop as you go in reception, and it has like Boss Witch. And I wanted, when I grew up, I thought it wanted to be a Disney princess, but now I'm a witch. It's like I love and they have like actual witch dolls and stuff you can buy. It's like, oh, it's so cool. Look at this beauty. Let's just take you in with our eyes, drink you up with our eyes. Wow. Anyone in there? And just saying hello to this tree, asking about the loneliness of awakenings. Has an incredible touch. Look at this bark, it's so deep. It's like Godzilla's skin. Wow. Let's just ask this tree. The tree says, time after time, humans go through cycles of falling asleep. So humanity goes into sleep, slumber, and then awakenings. And humanity is currently going through awakenings now. More and more humans are awakening. There's something about the earth, the tree says. There's something about the energy being released from the earth at this time. Ancient codes, wisdoms. Wow, I can feel that in my heart. Thank you, tree. And it's interesting, the tree's saying, just like this hole here in it, the tree's saying it can feel sometimes a bit like there's a hole in your heart chakra. And it can feel like you just want to fill that hole, that it's like a soul yearning. And sometimes that's the loneliness, so what's happening? Oh wow, thank you, tree. So the tree's saying that when we go through our awakenings, one of the reasons, so yes, it's saying yes, solitude is great for growth. So growing in, separation, solitude from others, like distance from others. And then the tree says, when your heart awakens and opens, it's a shock to your heart because your heart and soul are used to connecting in unity with other beings. And that's why it feels so lonely, because in the first few months and years, you may not be used to this concept even of unity, connecting, heart to heart with other people and other beings, or in my case, heart and hand to tree, like I am just now. Thank you, tree. Anything else you'd like to share? Any other advice you'd like to give? The tree says this has been happening, awakenings have been happening throughout the history of humanity. Between lifetimes, within lifetimes. And just to really encourage you to open up and to receive your full self. Oh, thank you, tree. You're beautiful. So big and beautiful. Wow, look at this one. Aren't you stunning? And thank you, Loki Kirk. I was just going to see if I can send some healing, offer any healing. I'm just going to swap hands as well. Thank you, tree. I'm just being asked to like hug this tree. Sending healing to our witch ancestors around the world, those past and present and future that have been persecuted in any form or your light dimmed, offering you the option now to be released from this space, to return to source, so never return here again. Archangel Michael, please assist these beautiful souls, if any choose to leave. And for those that remain, we send you so much love. Great forgiveness is required, both from those within religions and those of us outside of religions, because we are all one. We're all one earth family. Sending you peace, reminding of your unity, and that yearning we all have to be reconnected with each other once more in unity across humanity. Thank you, tree. The tree was laughing at me saying, thanks for the kiss, I hope I don't turn into a frog. I love that. I'm a happy Jon Binnie wandering around. Yes, it's summer, it's about 18, 19 degrees, but wandering around in my hat and cardigan as we explore and chat with trees. It's such fun. So some practical tips as well for connecting with your tribe. First of all, remember that your vibe attracts your tribe. So how you're feeling will attract people of similar emotions and emotional frequencies to you. This includes online. I do feel that our AI algorithms are completely influenced by us as well. You know, you and I, we're the conscious creators. And so you'll often get, I know for a fact that spirit guides, the universe, like constantly influence and interact with the randomization, the entropy of, that's such a cool word, right? Entropy. Of our algorithms, because our algorithms are constantly exploring to see what you like. You know, hey John, have you ever tried an Italian restaurant? You might like eating somewhere new, or an Indian restaurant, or Chinese food, or, you know, it's like that, trying new things. And so our algorithms that us humans create, the AI algorithms, are constantly going through these randomization aspects to explore. And when that happens, in particular, it's not just the same big YouTube channels with huge followings that you're getting recommended. It's people like me, Jon Binnie, hi, and others around the world. So remember that everyone that's coming in, everything that's recommended to you is there for a reason. And I would always suggest you use your discernment. You know, do actively unfollow and unsubscribe from channels that don't really resonate with you. And it's the same with people in person. You know, when there's people around you, they might say, oh, I'm so love and light, but maybe they have some toxic behaviours that you're uncomfortable with. You know, I'd encourage you to use your discernment. Just place your hand on your heart, especially after you've spent time with someone, and say, how do I feel? How do I feel, heart? Heart, how do I feel about that person? And let your heart talk to you. Say the words out loud with your hand on your heart. And I know that this question originates from the truly incredible weekend I had with my wonderful friend Chloe Rose. And if it's not obvious on camera from our adventures at Yester Castle, Roslyn, that's being posted, and also the adventures we had connecting with the water elementals. There's some drone footage too. The way I would describe myself around Chloe is just completely open, just completely 110% Jon Binnie. And those friendships to me are golden, or these friendships are gold dust to me. And the reason I say that is because it feels very much like, it takes quite a long time just to go through introductions. Hi there. To go through the introductions and then start to cultivate relationships, friendships, right? So Chloe and I, for example, she posted this recently on a YouTube comment, so I feel it's okay to share publicly, and that is that she'd come across me on Instagram, I think through my music, years ago. I'm not on Instagram anymore. And what happened was, I think she watched some songs. This is going back before, maybe even before I did Hi, It's Jon videos. And what would end up happening was I think eventually we started chatting after like sharing, like commenting on each other's videos for a while. And so this is someone, and I've done vice versa with others that I feel like I really resonated with their work. And it just felt like you just start to build like a conversation, and you can just, start to work from there. Hi there. So I feel that just using your discernment, taking things slowly, there's no rush, especially with new people you meet. One thing I always do when I meet new people is I make my intentions clear really early on, and I share my boundaries really early on. So one intention I share is I am not, whether they're male or female, right? Say I'm not looking for romantic relationship. I'm happily married. I'm just interested in becoming friends, and I feel that's really powerful. And don't just say it, right? You have to be honest with yourself and say, how do I really feel? And then the other thing I'll say is, and my boundaries are, and one of them I speak publicly about is, I don't like random phone calls or last minute requests to jump on a call just to have a chat for an hour or something, because I really balance my energy out through the client sessions I do, and my sometimes I'll be doing exorcisms I do at least once a month. So these are times that I have to really step away from my human interactions, and I feel like by saying that up front, it sets the tone. And I encourage my counterpart, my friend, to say, what are your intentions, what are your boundaries? And it's just so refreshing to do that up front. And if you took Chloe as an example, we've known each other now for years, and it did take a few years before we met in person. And when I first started on this journey, I thought perhaps I was the only spiritually awakening person in the UK, because I only ever saw people in America. But we hide in plain sight, right? When we go through our awakenings, we, just like this tree here that's split into two, we kind of have this outward facing persona. So for example, for the first few years after my awakening, you would look at me and I would be like, my head would be down, I would be like trying to avoid eye contact, I'd be quite shy out in public. And sometimes I'm still a bit like that, but you wouldn't look at me and look at the way I'm dressed, right? I'm just like a middle-aged white dude, right? I'm just some guy wandering around with a hat on and a selfie stick, filming himself and talking. Other than that, I'm pretty, I'm, you know, on the face of it, maybe I appear physically quite normal. Who wants to be normal? That's an actual Jon Binnie song written by my son. So that's the other thing you can do, is remember that anyone can go through a spiritual awakening, even people you don't like, right? There's just no, you know what the universe is like, there's no exceptions, right? There's no one's safe from going through an awakening. If your soul has chosen an awakening, that's it, you'll go through it. So I'd always encourage you to have a bit of a chat with people, and start by, if you're wanting to sound someone out, see how kind of open they are to discussion or new opportunities, or get them to open up their heart a bit more and share a bit more about themselves. You know, start with the more like physical, day-to-day practical things. So everyone sleeps, right? You could ask someone about their dreams. Do you have any dreams? Do you remember your dreams? And talk to them about your dreams. Oh, I had a dream I was on a Galactic Federation ship. That happens a lot for me. You may share with them, you know, talk to them about the sky, about the clouds, about the weather, about signs, numbers, feathers, you know, and numerology, angelic numbers, anything that's important to you. You know, have they ever had a psychic reading before? Have they ever had a tarot reading? Have they ever seen a ghost? Like, these are the much more common day-to-day things that us humans experience, right? And just take it from there. And I would say, you know, in the UK so far, you'll have seen me publicly with MJ from All to Love, Leah Solmaz, with Jen the Wrestling Witch, with Lisa Mitchell, Chloe Rose, Natasha Rocha. That's 6 people, right? And there are others I've met that are, including Scott, who's he's not actually in the UK, he was visiting over from the US. And I also met like a huge number of people, including Nancy from my visit to the west coast of the US in 2019. And that was incredible, you know, look, here's sunshine. You know, go along to a retreat, go on to like, find a retreat, like Natasha Rocha, for example, in the UK, she's running a retreat in October over on the west coast of Scotland. I think it's called the Father Code. I did share it on the post section of my YouTube channel. These are like gold dust, right? Go to, find a practitioner that you resonate with, you know, get to know them, ask them about their mission, ask them why they're here on earth, ask them their intentions, get under the skin of what they, by that I mean like deep dive into what really motivates and drives this practitioner or spiritual psychic leader, however you describe them, or YouTuber, and then, you know, if they offer something where you get to meet other people, remember, if that practitioner resonates with you, it's an increased likelihood that the other people that they attract are on a similar frequency and wavelength to you. And you know, Natasha Rocha is an expert in holding beautiful, beautiful space, and by that I mean bringing people together in safety, energetic safety, psychic safety, physical safety. I I'm getting drawn to, I'm being pulled up this way. I don't think I've been up this way before. I'll take it slowly. There's no rush. And Chloe and I are running a retreat in March 2027, so spring 2027, and early August we're announcing the tickets. So that's another example. You know, we would love some of you to travel to visit. There'll just be 8 spaces, so you know, we can't help all the people in person around the world, but 8's a start. As my spirit guides say, John, if you can't, you know, save the whole world, then just start with helping one person. Or even if I can't help the whole world, perhaps start with helping one other person. This is steep. Does your spiritual awakening ever feel like an uphill struggle? Sign up for my free 14-day Spirit Guide Meditation Challenge on jonbinnie.com. Click on Get Started with John. I feel I'm being led off the track and into Nettlesville. Well, this is fun. And I also like, you'll notice I drive to visit people. So right now, the nearest friend to me is 2.5 hours drive, and the furthest is at least 9.5 hours drive. And you know what? I just make it happen. I'm a happily married father, so and a dog parent as well of Patch, and it takes a lot of discussion and kind of, how to describe it, like, is negotiation the right word? Like, maybe like it's like compromise on all sides. Like, one thing my wife is always saying to me is, John, you work from home all the time, so absolutely, do these adventures. And plus, I film whenever I'm doing them, so I get to reap the rewards of sharing the places, the adventures I go to with all of you. But be open to travel to meet other people. I would also just recommend that you really get to know people first. And you can only do so much, right? But perhaps you'll meet most people that I've met, the first, or friends as they are now, meet in person. With Jen the Resting Witch, when we first met, we just went to a cafe, and with Patch. So I had backup. And that's just so beautiful and important, right? To make sure you're safe. You feel safe if you're ever meeting anyone in person. And yeah, I also do like a debrief afterwards with my heart. How do you feel, heart? How do you feel about all of that? Do you feel happy and joyful up here towards the top of your heart? Or do you feel sad, depleted, drained? Do you feel like you can really be yourself around this person, like fully yourself? Or do you feel like you're putting on a bit of an act? And not everyone that we meet is going to share, or everyone full stop in the world, including those that we meet, are going to share the same philosophies, spiritual beliefs. For example, Chloe talks publicly about like the divine, God, goddess, source, and her beliefs around them. And I pretty much only really talk about source. and so we don't, I love that about Chloe, and my friendship with her is that those differences in perspectives are to be nourished and valued and cultivated and to be respected in each other. And I really love that. And so I do that, I always follow that with my friends as well. Like I never want to feel like I couldn't share how I truly feel about something. Before we move off the subject, and please let me know if you want more on this topic about how you meet people. Because I must admit, the other thing I've done with these like psychic tree talks and walks with other people and going adventures to different castles and all this stuff is invite people, right? And I love being able to. I'm sure when I first went for a walk with Natasha or Lisa, like one of the first friends that I went walks with, what I did was I would like show them a psychic tree talk video and say, why don't we do something like this? Like, well, I'll just film, we'll just chat and be ourselves, and I'll take my camera and we'll talk to trees and just be ourselves, right? Just like be grown-up kids in the woods. Woohoo! Okay, let's ask this tree, anything else to add about connecting with others after our awakening? The tree says heart match. So matching the hearts with others. You'll feel it before you hear them speak. Before they even utter a word, you'll feel the heart of another human. Pay attention to this new awakening superpower within each of you. Humans have this gift very strongly. Trees share it too. Feel the colors, the sensations, the vibrations, the frequencies, the sounds and smells. Trust all of your instincts and all of your senses when connecting with other humans. And never, the tree saying, never silo anything. So, you know, a red flag for me would be, oh, I better not talk about source, or I better not roar like a dragon. Right? Never silo anything off, never hide parts of you. And be with love, compassion, equality, forgiveness, and friendship. Kinship. Oh, thank you, tree. Can I give you a hug? You're quite hard. It's really steep here. I don't want to fall off. I'll give you a little hug. Oh, thank you. I love you, tree. Thank you. All right. What are we in now? Ooh, 37 minutes. And I've got some fun. You'll find this funny, me clambering back down the hills. We climbed so steep. And we have 3 more questions to answer. So I practically did an entire video on awakening and feeling lonely, meeting people. Okay. Kathy Martin. Hello, Kathy. Hi, John. Between my son, myself, my daughter, 4 cars have broken down in the last few months. I had heard this can be about direction in life. Is that a thing? ? That objects in our lives reflect internal processes. Thank you, and the trees who answers, Kath. Thank you, Kath. Beautiful question. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen this post, there's a picture of Patch in his new buggy. Because he gets tired on his walks. So I know it doesn't look like that when he's running around woodlands, but after about 30 minutes, especially in the heat, wow, look at you. Look at this big beauty. Can I touch you, please, tree? The tree says yes. Wow, just to feel that. Like, just the fullness across my whole palm of my hand. Wow, you're a beauty, thank you. This tree says it's happy to answer questions, just it's sending me on to the next tree. Thank you for this particular question. Thank you, tree. Okay, let's ask this tree. Thank you, tree. Outside of us reflects inside of us. Outside of us is the inside of us mirrored. For example, the vehicles in particular and our homes or any objects that we spend significant amounts of time, energy and focus, just think of the concentration you have when you're driving, the amount of energy and focus you put into your vehicles. These are direct connections. They become intertwined with our hearts and our inner realities reflected outside of us. So please pay attention to every single thing that happens within your vehicles, including and I can feel in like my upper heart, this joyful feeling, and the tree showing me, I really celebrate your vehicle as much as you can. So don't just treat the kind of natural, hey, my car's running, that's a great thing. There's a kind of default, say, I love you car, I love you so much. I say that, my wife and I constantly talk to our motorhome, especially when we're sleeping in it overnight, like, thank you so much, we love you, love your layout, love all your features and your comfort, and you're always so warm and cozy, and you drive us to these incredible places, and the list goes on. And it's that loving energy. And ask your heart these questions. So the tree's answer to you, Kathy, is place your hand on your heart, ask your heart what lessons are to be learned about your vehicles. Thank you, tree. It's given me some direction. Thank you very much. And I don't mean direction on the path. I mean, that's fun and everything, but direction in this answer. So tree's saying, if your car breaks down, like Kath's experience and your loved ones, like put your hand on your heart and ask about, the nature of the breakdown is really, really important to understand too. Ask the garage if you get it fixed, or maybe you couldn't get it fixed and you had to have it scrapped, or whatever. Pay attention to the warning lights. Google the potential causes if you're not sure what they are yourself. I'm a bit of a geek, so I have a little reader that I connect into the computer, the onboard computer on my motorhome, so I can read the error codes on it. You connect it to your phone. They're quite cheap, and perfectly legal. They don't allow anything that isn't otherwise. And this is beautiful here, isn't it? Ooh, there's a big rock up there that it's saying hello to me. Can you see it? This rock up here, but it's a bit tricky to get to. So maybe another time, rock. Next time I'm clambering down the hill, I'll come and say hello to you. Okay, sending you love. So, for example, my motorhome was like on the edge of breaking down, and it was just the weekend that Chloe was going to visit. Should I say did visit? So it was last weekend. I started getting this amber warning light, and when I looked it up on my little device and Googled it, I found that the engine could shut down at any moment. And when I investigated it, I thought it was something to do with like the computer connection to the engine and maybe like a voltage drop. When I took it to the garage and they investigated, they said, oh no, it's actually an oil warning light, which is strange because there was no oil warning lights coming up. But they said it's detected a thinning of the oil, and that the fix was just to replace the oil and replace the oil filter and then archive the little warning code. And I asked my heart about this and my spirit guides, and really my heart helped answer this by saying, John, whenever there's any engine problems, pay attention to how your heart's feeling, John. Pay attention to the happiness and health. And that assumption we wake up with in the morning and we say to ourselves, we just assume that our heart's going to run for the day, right? But our hearts do require a lot of, conversation and love and nurturing. And in my case, my heart was saying, pay attention to some of the fuel that you're consuming. This is in relation to food and perhaps some liquid too, because some of it could be eroding your happiness and health, John. And I must admit, during that whole time that I had the warning lights through the weekend with Chloe was amazing at showing me new, I'm not the world's best cook, right? So she was showing me hey, chop some fresh vegetables. Let's, blend them in with some of the food already had in the motorhome, some lovely plant-based chili, and I was like, wow, this is like that thinning of the oil I felt. It's like this helps address that, by increasing my the breadth of my diet to be happier and healthier. Oh my God, look at this tree branch. It just begs to be swung upon. It might be strong enough, but I'm not going to risk it. And so yeah, when I got just Tuesday, I got the motorhome fixed, and this is a really powerful lesson for me. Focus on what you're consuming gives you a happy and healthy heart, and in this case, a happy and healthy motorhome engine was a reflection of that. Also, you think about oil, it kind of thins over time. So it also reminded me of holidays and vacations. So I paid a lot of attention to that as well. I made sure I've got lots booked this year, and I do have loads booked this year. So excited for those. So going back to your question, Kathy, yes, all aspects. So I don't just apply this to my motorhome, right? Because I know I'm going on about it a lot. I love it. So welcome to the Jon Binnie's universe of the things I love. Every single thing in your life that you experience outside of you is trying to teach you a lesson about what's going inside of you. And the more you practice this, the easier it gets. So did I have another lesson today? Let me think. Oh yeah. Patch so I came back from my morning run, got back to the moto, and Patch immediately wanted out for a walk. I prefer to have a shower. And in that moment, I caught myself, right? And I was like, Jon, it's okay. The world's not going to break. The sky's not going to fall if you do this walk with Patch first. And it's a little bit embarrassing going out in my super tight running tights. Let's call them that, because that's what they look like, black running tights, skin tight, with quite a tight running top on. I prefer just running with it. I don't know, maybe I feel like I'm running so fast, like Speedy Gonzales, or Roadrunner, that you can't see me in what I'm wearing, which sounds so ridiculous. And when I'm walking, I'm somehow more visible, but it just looks like I'm just like a middle-aged guy with some grey hair walking his dog after a morning run or before a morning run, right, when you see me out. And I just remembered in those moments, wow, I put my hand on my heart. It's what's the lesson I'm learning about going out like this? And I felt my heart say, see, it's okay. It's good to be flexible. Try different things, Jon. Flex your morning routine, because I am a total creature of habit. And if you hadn't guessed, perhaps there are some of my somewhere on the spectrum behaviours of rigid thinking and obsessive behaviours, very well suited to introducing daily meditation into, less well suited to flexibility, but it's definitely improving in my life. So thank you. Please do, Kath. I hope you get your cars fixed, and remember that everything that happens outside of us is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. All right, you're ready. Next question, because I still have two more, and we're almost at an hour. I'd hate to bore you guys, but your questions are amazing, so thank you. Okay. Oh, this is a cool one, right? This is from Karen. It says, Artisanity, 123, Karen Bartles. Okay, Jon, Okay, Jon, I have gathered my courage to ask this question. I heard multiple psychics assert that there is no hell. So, of course, I was surprised when I heard you talk about descending into hell, 99 levels. All of that. It would help if I spent a few moments explaining how it all works, whether it's the lowest levels of heaven or just its own place. As I was raised Jewish, I don't have any particular angst about it, but I'm very curious to know how it all works. Thank you for everything you do for us, Karen. Oh, thank you, Karen. So, first of all, Karen, congratulations on asking your first Jon Binnie question. So well done. And it fills my heart with such joy, and it reminds me how powerful it is. You know, Viviane and I in our live streams talk about lurkers, this concept of before we're ready to like say hello in a live chat, to just watch and observe, and so we kind of lurk around, and we've been making, over the recent months, we've been making an increasing effort to say hello to everyone. And so we say hello to the lurkers and ask the lurkers to say hello to, and it's up to you, of course, if you say hello. And now that I'm not accusing you of lurking, lurking is a really cool habit, right? It's the way we, you know, I'm sure when I first start doing psychic readings and turn up in the spirit world, if you like, that to them I'm lurking, right? Just like often ghosts look like they're lurking to us. And I really love that you've plucked up the courage, and I'd encourage everyone to post a question. Just click on jonbinnie.com, my website, Ask YouTube is the link, or there's always the link in the description of the videos, and you just post a little question, and it asks permission for you to share, for me to share publicly. So going back to hell, and isn't it cool that Chloe and I visited this, well, we actually went down the stairway to hell in Yester Castle, the Goblin Hall, on Saturday. If you haven't seen that, watch that video. It's incredible. Oh, by the way, I have, if you look on my YouTube channel, I now have 2 shows. One for Psychic Tree Talks. This is part of a new show. It's a new YouTube feature where you have seasons and then episodes. I think it's 10 episodes per season I've decided on, and so there's 6 seasons. I think there's about 60 Psychic Tree Talks. This must be the 61st. Isn't that incredible? How time flies. But it's about right, because I do about one a week for about a year, so 52, 60. And look at this cool little, I think we sat in here last time, right? This little structure when I was here. So hell, why don't we ask a tree first of all about hell? This darker tree over here wants to answer. Let's go and ask. Hello tree, thank you for offering. The tree says, when souls, well, I can feel that breeze picking up, when souls choose to face their deepest, darkest fears, including motivations such as to repay karma or to grow, this is when souls can choose to go into the underworld or underworlds, these realms, these levels of hell beneath the vibration and dimension of where we currently reside, in the 3rd dimension of Earth. Whoa, and I'm just feeling, I don't know if anything's showing up on camera, but I can just feel like, it's almost like an elemental hand touching over the top of my hand just now. It's a wee bit creepy. This is one of the lower vibration elemental beings here, and it's really interesting because this, if you look directly in the center of the camera, you can see in the center some holly bushes. That's where I know where the darker entities tend to reside, so we're in direct alignment with that. And I believe the Witch's Craig as well. So I'm just asking, please give me space, don't touch me, I don't give you permission to touch me. I'd prefer you show yourself at a distance from me so that we can become acquainted at a distance, but I don't give you permission to connect with me, touch me, attach to me, or to follow me in any way. Okay, just making my boundaries clear. Hell is a place where souls go, and it's really interesting, the tree saying repent, and I don't feel it's what the term that we would perhaps use, but the tree saying a way of us going into a lower vibration where we can attract in experiences at a low vibration reality. So if we're feeling hate, for example, the best way to heal hate, or the fastest way, the most aggressive way of healing hate, is to go into a world, a reality of hatred. And I know that sometimes this planet Earth can feel a bit like hell on earth for many of us. And I've certainly had my moments in this life. When you go to hell, it's even worse, right? And it gets worse. Like the frequency gets lower all the way from -1 to -99. Hell isn't a place to fear. It's not going to swallow you up. It's not trying to hunt you, and it's also not trying to invite you in necessarily. I know I talk about the gates of hell being warm and cozy and open, and the path to hell is like the doors of hell are always open, or the gates of hell. You can toast as many marshmallows as you want down there, right? It's not so much that. It's that whenever I go to hell, it is really, every level is a construct. It is a place dominated by the consciousness of the experiencer. So, for instance, if I was in hell, let's say randomly level -67, if I was there, I could be co-creating with that frequency of -67 a very deep, dark experience, and often they're repeated over and over. These kind of like this feeling of eternal looping, an endless loop, an infinite loop of punishment, of like self-punishment. So I get why other psychics well, they're just people, right? Other people have different opinions. It's totally up to others, right? And how you perceive hell is totally up to you. I just know I've been there. I go there with clients. I retrieve soul fragments. I've experienced, so I travel down on an elevator down to the lower levels of hell, and including all the way to -99, and meet some of the deepest, darkest beings that exist in this universe, and maybe the deepest and darkest. And all I can say is, in part, it's part of my mission and my job. You know, I started in the dark side of this work because I had to develop no fear for it. A huge amounts of respect, caution, practicing safe psychic and energetic work, learning, multiple years working with Archangel Michael to have like a good trusted friend that I can go to these places with. And also I do greatly value the friends that are close to me that support me. You know who you are. When I'm doing soul retrievals and exorcisms, you always help me, come back in the recovery process, come back to this reality. I just want to say a thank you, Tree, for showing us and helping share with us. And I do have some videos. I'm sure if you search for just Jon Binnie and hell, Jon Binnie hell in YouTube, you'll find some more videos about me describing it in a lot more detail for at least an hour. I do recall like a video talking about how I do soul retrievals, how I do exorcisms, and like any of these things, and I feel that's quite probably at the heart of what it was Karen Wright was trying to share, is that I'd encourage everyone to form their own relationships with these concepts, and don't just do it in your mind. Sorry for hitting the mic. Don't just do it in your mind. Do it with your heart. How does it feel? Knowledge is up here, right, in the mind. It's just a thing. Hell exists, yes or no. In your heart, you get to feel it. And this is where true wisdom lies, right? Is where knowledge, like the concept of hell, and then wisdom, the feeling and experience of that knowledge, that's where you can continue to develop your own journey. I'm not inviting you to hell, right? But start to feel into how, at very least, how others, when they're describing these things, how do they make you feel? If you feel scared and your heart chakra's like closing up and you feel like you're really worried about things that may or may not happen to you, then maybe like don't keep going there, right? Instead, like ask yourself, why am I scared of this? Like, what do I need to face about a fear? And yeah, I teach it in my higher self intermediate training. I do teach how to go down to hell and back safely. And in the coming weeks, I'll be converting that into a YouTube course. And so there will be, I've already created a YouTube video where you can safely, as safely as you can do, on a self-guided or guided meditation by me, guide you to hell and back. I'm not sure I'll ever make that fully public, that video, but for safety reasons of the souls that participate, I do imagine creating it as a membership video. So give that some thought. Some people have already tested it. Some clients and friends have already tested that video for me and had great results. So just to be aware that these things are coming. Okay, I really need to get back and to my wife and Patch. There's just one more question to answer on the way down. We just turned an hour. This question, well, this is also from Mrs. Love to Learn. Hello, Jon. I hope you're having a lovely day. Even though the leader of my country has caused much turmoil around the world and at home, isn't it still wrong to wish this person dead? ? There is so much talk about this online. I don't partake in such conversations. I feel it's putting negative energy out there, and we don't really need more of. I do wish that he no longer holds that position of power, and that he bears some consequence. But it just feels wrong to put the wish of death out there, no matter who it is. Does it affect my own energy when I speak that way? When we speak that way, do we have consequence by talking this way? Karma, perhaps. I'm not surprised that there's a lot of talk like this, but I am surprised at who some of these people are and still think it's okay. And then it says, oh, I think you meant to say, is it? It just says, it. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Paula. Wow. This video's definitely got lots of Paula to support with 2 questions. So thank you. Ooh, look at these fascinating trees. Isn't that cool? I'm just touching this tree, as you can see, and the tree just wanted to stop me and say, this loop here is very much part of the answer. So the tree's saying that, thank you, tree, for catching me, says, whatever you feel towards others will make its way back to you. And remember, we were talking a lot with Kathy about vehicles breaking down. So if you give a lot of love and positivity and gratitude to your vehicle, to anything outside of you, then that's what you're more likely to receive back in some form or another. And the same is true for negative feelings. If we feel negative feelings, and it's a whole spectrum, right? It's not just like negative or positive, it's a whole spectrum. If we feel negatively, and remembering that thoughts and feelings and words are actions. The universe doesn't care that you're like physically doing something or not. And I still find it so fascinating that let's face it, our laws, certainly in the UK, are very dominated by physical things. And then more recently, we've had some speaking, like hate speech in social media, for example, and some aspects of, harassment and things like that our laws have got a lot better. But a lot of them are attached to emotions, which is, difficult to enforce and a little bit scary as well. It's like, oh, I made someone feel a certain way and now I have to go to prison, sort of thing. So I know we're just all navigating it as a human race. And first of all, I'd say no judgment, but remember, just like a car breaking down, when we see something or a person or their behavior that we perceive to be negative outside of us, to the extent that we feel triggered and that we feel negative feelings towards them, and we might even want, in those moments, be tempted to want negative things to happen to others. This is a moment to catch ourselves, and the sun, Sol's just popping up to say hello. This is a moment to catch yourselves, like touch your hand on your heart and say, what is it about this experience? What is it trying to teach me? What is I can't speak. What is this experience trying to teach me? Because like it or not, right, all these people, everyone in the world, we're all part of the same family, we're all part of the same human race. And we're all reflections of each other. So I believe, I know, and knowing for me is that all humans, we're all on the same spectrum, right? So in other words, if you pick any one person in this whole human race, past, present, they are on the same spectrum as me. And I had a little bit of a gulp there because I was thinking, there are many very dark behaviours in our human history. And that I know it's easy to look at me and think, oh, Jon's so love and light, and, he's like such a happy guy all the time. Some of the atrocities that happen to some of these people that then turn them to their darker sides of themselves, to want to motivate them to inflict pain upon others, whether they're motivated by fear, trauma, or just making up their own greed out of nowhere. Like, I feel that fundamentally we're all on the same frequency spectrum. And that even more importantly, these people that we perceive outside of us that are actively destroying the planet. They're destroying, healthcare systems, benefit systems, sovereignty, boundaries, immigration, tariffs. There's like a whole long list of like all the challenges. Every single thing, every single aspect of this is trying to teach us something. Now, I'm not saying, and we all know who I'm talking about, I'm not saying that world leader or any other world leader is somehow some sort of guru that's here to save us. Some of these souls have taken on these destructive roles. Like, that is their role, to destroy. And it's like they are destroying old systems. And I can feel the tree vibrating. Thank you, tree. This tree's saying, remember that every human is a reflection of us. So it's not to kind of bypass or excuse or to shirk responsibility of these people. I feel ultimately everyone, no matter what action you take in your life, regardless of whether a human law catches you or not, you still have to serve karma. This universe doesn't care about the UK laws or the laws of our countries. It doesn't even care about what we consider to be a boundary of a country. It doesn't really exist to Gaia. It doesn't exist to the universe. It doesn't exist to karma. And we will always be served in this lifetime and others if we feel negatively towards others, act negatively towards others, then we receive that back. And it's the same as the more positive aspects, right? Everything we push out, we get back. Just like that tree was showing us, that circle. I think I'm putting off climbing down there. Maybe I should start doing it. When you catch yourself putting something off, just go ahead and do it. Thank you, tree, for your support. So yeah, I just want to say, this person I know has caused, this one world leader in particular has caused so much pain and anguish and frustration, and there's no judgment here, right? I'm not here to judge you about whether you feel negatively towards other humans or not. It's natural to feel negative towards others. Really, the point is just to catch yourself and to start learning a lesson and ask, what can you do? When we allow, or even some of us vote in to systems, people that are capable of such destruction, this is a reflection on us. This is a reflection on the same systems that we create and co-create with each other. And I feel a lot of my lessons are to continue a journey. I would regard my act of rebellion, my greatest rebellion, is frankly not giving two hoots about like what an individual world leader does or doesn't. In the UK, we've had, in the last 10 years, 7 prime ministers. 7. We're so unhappy with them all. We've got the opposite problem, right? We're not trying to get rid of someone. We're trying to find someone. Jon Binnie for prime minister. No, I really don't want to. Politics is not my thing. I feel my role is here to help people connect with a new world, to co-create a new world where we just don't rely on these systems. And so you would never have, if you don't have a system of centralized control, you can't have one person completely screwing everything up, right? And I feel that we're headed towards, around the world, much more of communities, tribes, federated communities where we all have our own individual sovereignty and we work in unity together and we give to each other. Since May, I do more hours live streams. I do 5 hours live streams in a week, so they're free, and I do 3 to 4 hours of client sessions. So I do more free work than I do paid work. And I've never felt so abundant or happy in my life. And I'm not saying we all have to do free work at all. It's all up to us. But for me, that's like my act of rebellion, is saying, I don't want to be part of this failing system. I will happily let you fall. I'll figure out myself how to sustain myself in this world to help protect me and my family. And to keep myself happy and healthy and providing, whether I'm working or not, whether I'm retiring or not at some point in my life. I do feel we've just got to figure out a new way. And it's going to take a lot of exploration, some bumps in the road, maybe some climbing down the embankment of life. And, the more that we can see each other through love and compassion, this is so funny. The more we can see each other through love and compassion, the more we will receive love and compassion for ourselves. And yet, don't put up with any crap, right? Have strong boundaries. Tell others what is and isn't acceptable, whether they're your prime minister, president, or whatever they are to you. Remember, you're the one that has power over yourself, no one else. Regardless of how they try and make you feel. For instance, the word on the street of disclosure, and why a lot of the military don't want to give up all their secrets about their interactions with extraterrestrials, is because they see prime ministers and presidents as temporary employees. They'll come and go, right? But a lot of these people in the military, they're in their roles for decades and decades. So they see, if you're in the UK, you'd see literally tens of prime ministers come and go. You're not our boss. Yeah, you might be on paper, but by the time I've impressed you, you'll be gone, and there'll be someone else that will step into your place, as it's constantly changing. So anyway, a massive thank you all for all your questions. Thank you for this incredible adventure together. It was a lot of fun. Please do like, share, subscribe, comment, hype. You can hype a video 3 times a week. You can hype the same video for 3 times. And just say a massive thank you for your love and support. Please do check out all the incredible videos Chloe and I are releasing. We continue to release Rosalind Glen adventures, and there's a new sound healing meditation collaboration coming, or it'll be released over this weekend anyway, so keep an eye out for that. And of course, congratulations to Chloe for your 1,000 subscribers. All right, take care everyone, sending love, bye.